There's another pressure that comes with living in an expanding environment, and it's a little quieter than the others. It's this feeling that you're supposed to keep up, stay informed, and have a take. Every day brings new controversies, new crises, and new arguments about what matters most right now. And just knowing that something's happening can start to feel like a demand, as if awareness itself is an obligation. If you don't know about it, you're disengaged. If you don't speak about it, you're complicit. And if you pause, you're falling behind. But there's a problem with that expectation. Just seeing a problem is no longer evidence that you can meaningfully respond to it. We're exposed to more events, more suffering, and more complexity than any one person can realistically act on. And yet the pressure remains to care equally, react quickly, and to hold opinions about things that we have no real proximity to and very little leverage over. When awareness outpaces agency, knowledge stops being empowering and starts being heavy. I remember sitting with a friend of mine, who's someone that I consider to be genuinely wise and deeply self-aware. It was during some major overseas conflict, and he got sucked into some heated online debate about the details of it. And it was pretty intense. For a couple of days, it was all he could think about. He kept pulling out his phone and checking for replies, and he would take this time to refine his arguments so that he was saying it exactly right. And slowly, almost without anyone noticing, everything else in his life just kind of took a backseat. His wife, his kid, his friends, even himself. I recognized it immediately because I've been there too. And what struck me wasn't that he cared too much, it was just that this care had no real place to go. Nothing he was doing was actually affecting anything that was happening overseas. It wasn't bringing any benefit to the person he was arguing with, and it wasn't bringing any perceptible value to his own life. I tried to offer him some perspective, but it didn't really land, and I honestly didn't expect it to either. I know what it's like when you have your attention captured in that way, and it's really hard to interrupt. And I think most people know exactly what that state feels like. And it's easy from the outside to look at that as a form of apathy. But I don't think it is. It's more like a protective shutdown. It's what happens when responsibility outpaces agency. When we carry concern without tools and urgency without direction. Somewhere along the way, we started moralizing knowing, and being informed became synonymous with being good, because having an opinion became a stand-in for doing something, and silence just kind of looked like failure. But information on its own isn't a virtue, it's just a tool. And like any tool, it becomes meaningful when it's connected to action, or understanding, or care that can actually be carried out. Otherwise, it's just weight. The truth is, not everything that enters your awareness deserves your emotional energy. Not every issue needs your opinion, and not every controversy benefits from your attention. And that isn't avoidance, that's discernment. Responsibility in a world like this isn't about knowing more. It's about choosing what's relevant enough to hold and then holding it well. You're allowed to decide which information actually improves your ability to live and relate and act with integrity. You're allowed to be local, and you're allowed to be slow, and you're allowed to care deeply about a select few things rather than superficially about everything. Because attention is finite, agency is limited, and meaning collapses when it's spread too thin. So maybe the cost of knowing isn't knowledge itself. It's confusing exposure with insight, awareness with responsibility, and volume with wisdom. We know more than we can act on. We see more than we can carry. And we're still learning how to live inside of that reality. And part of that learning, maybe the hardest part, is accepting that you don't need to hold the whole world in order to live well inside of it.